Hey, Miguel Lloyd, host of Life Full Circle Radio. Let me slide on over here so I can get a little bit more centered, because we done did a little bit in the office slash studio, and so things a little bit different. Not much. First time tuning to Life Full Circle Radio. What we do is we take subject matter of the headlines. We try to do all the news, politics, and ratchetness in an hour that you can stand. And here's the thing. For a long time, we used to always have like amazing guests on our show. It wasn't just about me and Kia doing what we do, which we have a lot of fun doing it, but it's a lot more interesting when you got really, really dope people who come on with us. And so today, I've got a couple of folks that was going to be joining me today. One is my man, Sean Doc Rock, who's an amazing dude in the tech space. This whole setup you see here is a platform called Ecamm. He is the content manager for Ecamm, but that's like that's what he does for a living. He's just one of the dopest dudes that I know. Knows tech backwards and forward. He's a great music guy. He's a great little bit of everything guy, and he used to work for Apple. So that makes him dope. For all you whack Android people, he about to clown. Yeah, we trying to check out this Donna Summer, whatever you got going on over here.
I'm everyone.
Yeah, that is kind of Whitney Houston-esque. It is actually.
Oh, yeah.
You even got the little Whitney Houston tank top. That's something straight out of like a 1992 Whitney Houston.
It absolutely is. And want to hear something funny? When your kids have only seen you in braids their entire life, they've only seen me in braids.
Yeah.
I came out the room with this on.
Yeah. Mommy.
Oh, they were just like, they were trying to feel it and touch it. Then I came out the room with it off, and even more confusion ensued. It was a lot for them to deal with.
God, yeah. So cool. So man, I've got less than a week to go until I'm the big 5-0. You should have seen me like 10 minutes ago before I shaved my beard. I'm really showing my age right now. So I got to keep the goatee tight because
you look fine.
This is all white now. Like literally.
Well, I feel like you should wear it white to the party though. I feel like you should wear it to the party because that's a good look because you got that weird little white square right there.
It's not weird. Hold on. Where's it at? It's not weird.
Right there.
So it's funny, the story. My dad my dad had this joint in his head when he was like 13. And so I guess it's kind of like a birthmark type of thing because we both.
It is. I had a guy in my school in college. He had the same thing you had. It was the weirdest thing ever. Just that one square was just white. Everything else was black.
Yeah, it's starting to, you can't really see it here, which is good, but it's starting to be real salt and pepperish over here.
But I will let you know, the Shakurs +1 have booked our hotel. We're ready. We'll be up at 5 in the car driving to Atlanta because we can't catch Spirit to Atlanta. So all we could do is drive. So we will be there. We're excited.
There's no Spirit. What comes to Atlanta? Something because we didn't heard enough. Yeah.
Nothing.
Everything comes to Atlanta.
Not from Orlando because of the distance. Because it's such a short distance. You can't fly. You can't just fly to Atlanta from Orlando. So
oh my God. So I'm sitting up here as we know we do. We produce as we are. One day we're gonna have a whole crew. We can just sit back and have other people doing what. But we getting there. We getting there. So I gotta drop the link. Let everybody know where we are. I'm telling you, man. It's gonna be fun with who we got coming on the show today. I'm just letting y'all know if you have not checked out my man, you're gonna have yourself these two cats or something special. And the good thing about, and make sure you tell a friend because the guys that are coming on, my other guy Keith Peltzer, it's wild because I sit in these couple of my live streaming groups, and Keith is mad cool. Sean and Matt, they were just both dope cats. And I started like Keith one time just humble flex was talking about, his relationship with Jill Scott. I was like, what? Huh?
It always be like that.
Yeah, just a humble flex. Like, oh yeah, I produced records for Jill and Music Soul Child
and they don't say Jill Scott. They're like, yeah, like I was in the studio with Jill.
Yeah.
What Jill?
Jill who?
Jack and Jill?
What Jill you talk about? So, but no, he's these cats are really, really dope. They're always very engaged and they create great content. And so we'll all learn a little bit about that too. But we're just gonna have some fun. This ain't gonna be, I don't really do interviews per se. I do, but I don't. This is a conversation we're gonna have That's gonna be pretty dope. So let's get our business taken care of. Okay. Because the second half of the show, we gonna have ourselves a little bit of fun. So, all right, let's get this mess out the way. Roe versus Wade. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and let you start.
Why? Okay.
Because as y'all say, this ain't man's business. We need to be staying out this anyway.
This is very short and simple. Basically, the federal kind of law about abortion being legal in the United States has now been repealed, overturned. Basically, what that means is that it passes down to the states so that the states can make their decisions about how abortions can be handled. Right. It was important for it to be a federal mandate because it means that let's say there's a crazy Republican governors like now, they can't just do something without being like, hold up, wait, this is the federal law. Right. You can't just do this. Right. And it's a huge deal. We've already got states like Alabama who have banned abortion. There are also, I think it's Alabama and Oklahoma who have completely banned.
Oklahoma, Arkansas. There are quite a few that are primarily in the South. Mm-hmm.
They've banned abortions 100%. A lot of states, what they'll do is they'll ban abortions if it's like elective. But if it threatens the mother's life, result of incest or rape, you can still have an abortion. And even in red states, like you said, Arkansas, Alabama, and Oklahoma, it is no matter what happens, you are having this baby. It does not matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter if you were raped by your father. It does not matter. You're having the baby. And that's a huge issue. And, I'll get to my point when you say your comment. I'll make my commentary.
Well, this is one of those issues that I struggle with because I am definitely pro-choice. People should have the ability to choose and live their lives the way they want to live their lives. Period. Full stop. Am I pro-abortion? I'm not pro-abortion, but I'm not like out here waving no flags and beating people up, and because I want people to make better choices in their lives in these scenarios. Now, you start talking about rape and incest and things of that nature. You do what you got to do, because I just can't imagine, as a father of 3 girls, and Lord forbid something happened to one of my babies, and they come home and they stay out, and they were and now it's you want to keep a rapist's baby. That's something that would be very, very difficult to live with for the rest of our lives as a family. So, but what really pisses me off is, kind of what we're seeing are these celebrations and all of this making this out to be a victory. I don't think anyone won. The way I see it is not about victories, but politicians will gin up these people and get people so excited. And I saw so many tears and so many cheers going on Friday, I think it was. And I just said, all I could do is just shake my head and just wondered, like, where else are we going? Now, you have situations where Clarence Thomas is now saying that he may be going after same-sex marriages. He may be going after contraceptives. He may be
which is so stupid to me. Like, okay, you want people to get on birth control so they're not having it doesn't make any sense of what he's trying to do. But let me tell you my opinion about it. Mm-hmm. I think more women and more people could be 100% pro-life if there was a plan. There's no plan in place for this. Yeah. So let's say you guys, they repeal Roe v. Wade, abortion comes banned in every single state. What's the plan? So are we making adoption more affordable in every state? Because if you go private adoption and not state adoption, it's very expensive. And if you go state adoption, it's a very, very long process. Trust me, I know. We adopted my little sister. It was a very long process to get her. Are we increasing SSI benefits? And are we increasing Medicaid? Because if these women who are having babies, these families are having babies they can afford, how are they supposed to pay for them? No? Are we getting more social workers across America? Because they're going to have more jobs to do for all these women who didn't want to have these kids, who are now stuck with these kids, either dealing with depression or anxiety or abusing these children. Social workers will now have to get involved. It's so much more than have the baby. The baby is the easy part. They're so cute and cuddly and they're adorable. Then they grow up and you want to punch them in the face. Like, that's just how being a parent works.
Yeah, then you have to raise the baby. Once the baby is born, then you got to raise the child. And that's the part that gets me, is that a lot of these extremely pro-life folks, they could care less about that part. They're like, oh no, that's not the deal. That's not the real problem. That is actually a big part of the problem.
That's
Somebody has
the
to raise these
problem.
children. Somebody definitely has to raise these children. And so, you know, and I said, I think one of the first things I posted after this is I spoke to my Christian family and friends. And I said, you know, paraphrasing, it's just like, you know, the reclamation project, which is basically getting people to who may have been Christians before or may not come to church as much as you like. And this is part of the reason, as soon as stuff like this happens, the cheering and the visceral reactions and how much you guys are this is the part that keeps people that you could probably bring back in the fold. They ain't coming. They're not trying to hang out with y'all. They're not trying to be associated with you guys when it gets to this point where you're bad mouthing. You know, when someone asks you a question, okay, yes, this is what God says, but the God also says we're supposed to love our neighbors, right? And so if someone asks you a question, so what is your response to if someone is raped? What do we do? Does that woman have to have that child? And most
And
of
they
the time,
always have the same quick answer. It's not that child's fault. God gave it to them for a blessing. That may be true, and that woman may end up loving that child, but the emotional fortitude it takes to raise a child born from sexual assault is difficult. It is
I
unbelievably
cannot
difficult.
imagine. I cannot
It's
imagine.
a lot. Y'all can just watch episodes of Law and Order SVU. They talk about it all the time when women have babies or rapists, and they are traumatized. These are real. This really happens,
Yeah,
and
it
it's hard.
absolutely happens. It's very real. You know, and then you really have stories like this that have just come down. And let me pull this up because I want you guys to see this as well. This is Representative. I want to get her name right. Representative Miller, Mary Miller, out of Illinois. She's running for state senate, or anyway. Speaking alongside Trump, called SCOTUS ruling victory for white life. And so she tried to backtrack after the fact and say, no, I meant to say right to life. It wasn't about white life. And yeah, you know what? We don't believe you. You need more people.
Welcome you to God's country. I'm so honored to have your endorsement. President Trump, on behalf of all the MAGA patriots in America, I want to thank you for the historic victory for white life in the Supreme Court yesterday.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Victory for white life in the Supreme Court yesterday. For white life in the Supreme Court yesterday.
This
Now,
is where we are.
Play it again. No, don't play it again. Just keep playing it.
White life in the Supreme Court yesterday.
Now pause it.
My friends,
even if she didn't mean to say that and it was a gaffe, why did everybody clap? Everybody clapped.
Right.
So even if she made a gaffe, the people in the audience thought she was for real, and they clapped to white life being kept alive or whatever, and blah blah blah. Like it's just
right. And that's the part about the right wing Christian conservative community that I'll never rock with.
No.
Because when it's all said and done, you're not. This is not about Christianity. This is not about. This is not about Christ. This is about white folk, and this is about power and control. And that's something that you know I do struggle with because I got family who are white. I got friends who are white. I got people who are great people. But people like this are the ones when you sit up here and make a statement like what she just made right here. You know, you just sit back and you say, this is
in the
truth.
Supreme Court yesterday. My friends,
this is the enemy. This is the group of people that have determined that we will keep this world and America the way that it's always been. And I'm sorry, it's not going to be the way that it's always been.
And what's annoying is that these white men, these white Christians, their daughters have had abortions. Their mistresses have had abortions. It came out today that Ivanka had an abortion in high school because her friends are the ones who took her to the abortion clinic. And now she's so pro-life. They're like, but you weren't saying that when we had to give you a ride to the clinic when we were in high school. Remember that?
Right.
And when these
right.
mistresses start coming out with these stories of these Christian evangelical super PAC supporter politician guys about what they've had to do for these men or what abortions they've had to get or what plan B, for example, Jason Miller, who used to work for Trump, was he a spokesperson or a surrogate? The big old fat one with the goatee.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
Okay. He was married, had a mistress that he met in a strip club here in Orlando. Shout out to Orlando. And she wouldn't have an abortion. So what he decided to do was take the misoprostol pill when he went to go grab smoothies for the both of them and put it in her smoothie. The girl almost died. She almost died. Then he didn't want to, then the child was living, and then he didn't want to pay child support for the child. And the court was like, first of all, you've done multiple illegal things here, so you're definitely paying child support for this kid.
You know, it's just the hypocrisy in it, man. That really bugs the hell out of me. And I just look at it and say, you know, we are really, guys, we got to pay attention, man. If you're not paying attention to what is going on, 2022, leading up to 2024, don't get back here later and just talk about, oh, the Democrats ain't doing nothing. Joe Biden falling off bikes and he can't think and he's old and he's whatever. Yeah, he's old. Yeah, okay. But the bottom line is you have gerrymandering is going on all over the country. You have these Senate lines and these districts that are being redrawn. You have these federal seats that have been set. You got the Supreme Court that got stacked, and all because you guys were worrying about Hillary Clinton's emails and hot sauce in her bag. And now we are where we are today.
And Joe Biden is old. Like, no one's talking about Joe Biden is old. He rickety. But anybody Trump is some young spring chicken. Like,
right.
Hillary Clinton was out here fainting, walking to the car. So it's just,
you know, it's funny, and there's starting to be a little bit of a groundswell for the governor of California to run. That's going to have the problem you're going to have with that situation.
Gavin Newsom? Mm-hmm. That's not going to work. No. See, Democrats, y'all be going so far to the left that's how you guys lose regular people. Stop going so far to the left.
But y'all went so far to the right with Trump, though. Y'all did it. Y'all. I'm putting it on the Republicans. Yeah, I'm putting it on the Republicans.
That's fine. The overcorrection has to stop.
Looks like I'm drinking moonshine. Don't look like I'm drinking moonshine.
No, it looks like you're broke drinking out of a jar. You ain't drinking no moonshine. But they didn't like Obama. He too black. So they get the white, richest man on the planet. It was horrible. Yeah. Now we've got Father Time as the president falling off of bikes, learning his words, can't read a teleprompter. He probably go to bed at 7.
Pendulum swing, yeah.
But it can't, that's where we keep messing up. It's too much of the overcorrection. Gavin Newsom is a horrible idea. And I'm not just saying it as a Republican. I'm just saying that as a woman who knows he's had mistresses. Like, let's not. The skeletons that are going to fly out of his closet are going to be horrible.
But here's the thing. Does that matter anymore? We have had Donald Trump. So all the mistresses and all this stuff that's going to fall out, I will take my bad. And let's keep going.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's do this then. So let's say Andrew Gillum gets off of his 21 indictments. You'd vote for him if he ran for president?
Andrew Gillum is a whole different, he got a lot, Gillum got a lot more problems than Gavin Newsom.
I'm in that circle.
Right. Gillum got a lot more problems than Gavin Newsom, right? Because here's the thing. You know good and doggone well, in order to be black and run in those type of positions, you got to be damn near perfect. And Andrew Gillum ain't perfect. So he ain't, but Barack Obama, outside of smoking some weed and cigarettes, he was perfect.
Yes, and here's the funny part about Andrew. The 21 indictments on election fraud, nobody would have bat an eye at or cared about. But the gay stuff is where the black people have the the election fraud is fine. It's the gay stuff we don't like.
The black people ain't paying attention to the election fraud stuff. That's the problem. We so worried about what somebody doing in the bedroom, and you're not worried about the stuff that makes sense, that really matters. This stuff don't matter. You know, the election fraud is important. Who they sleeping with is not that important. It's not. And that's the part that we just don't seem to understand. We sitting back worrying about, we got to get Ray J stuff in. We got to get that in right before we start.
Okay, one more thing before we get off this topic. The other thing that I definitely wanted to bring up with the Roe v. Wade situation is there's a governor out there, and he's running for governor, who said that if we are going to overturn Roe v. Wade, what we need to implement is that every boy, when they turn the age of 13, gets a vasectomy, reversible vasectomy. And then when they come of age and can afford a child, then they get it reversed. And people were like, oh no, boys will never want to do that. I'm like, every boy will sign up for that, but we'll have a huge list of STDs, new STDs just coming out the woodwork, because now that young men know they can't get pregnant, they're going to go pregnant. They're going to be having sex with everybody. STDs will go through the roof. That'll be the new problem.
My God.
It'll be like butt fungus coming out. Like, oh, that's the new
God.
STD.
We sick, boss. We sick. All right. So I said we were going to have some fun today. One thing here with Life Full Circle, we used to have some amazing interviews. We've been doing this. We've been doing this show almost 10 years. It's crazy.
If you're bringing the guest on, we're going to do the Ray J thing together, right?
We're going to do the Ray J thing together. So we stopped doing guests. I have no idea why we stopped having guests, and that's going to change. And so to kind of get back into the mix, I had to call a couple of my people, and this all started. This really, it ain't started. I've been talking to Keith and Sean, and I've had Doc on a couple of on Chamber Live, the show that you like to fall asleep on, for the Black Chamber. I had him on there, and he was an amazing guest. But we're gonna have some fun today. But we had this conversation where we started talking about this neo soul thing, and you just tried to claim that neo soul was for the millenniums, and I said, and that damn near made me my head explode, because I was like, nah, y'all not getting that. Y'all try to act like we Gen X folks, huh? We are starting with that. We are starting. No, we're not starting.
Oh, they have fancy backgrounds.
We are not.
You didn't give her the memo, Migs?
Oh, now I want to put the background on my thing. This little satellite wall.
Oh, wait. He sold you out. Let me just stop right there. Before he called Keith up, he sold you out. Because he's going to talk about neo soul, and then he's going to bring one of the hottest neo soul producers in the planet.
I wonder.
Y'all don't want to know what I got to say. Y'all
he did not warn me.
Hold on. So let me set this up. All right. So just so you guys know, on the screen right now, first of all, my little sis Kia. I want y'all to meet the super producer, and so she's been my road dog on my shows for about 10 years. Keith Peltzer is so wild. So Keith, I started hanging out in our live stream groups, and Keith is always one of the dopest cats. We always had some fun times. He's always great. Then all of a sudden, he just had a humble brag one day. He was like, "Oh yeah, I was chilling in the studio with Jill." I'm like, "Jill who?"
Yes, he did. Yes.
You remember that, Doc? He was just like, Jill who?
Yes, he did.
And then I started looking around in his bag. I said, hold on. And Google is your friend. And I started Googling. I said, oh. So Keith Peltzer, dope guy, loves to ride bikes, has the dopest studio in Philly. And oh, by the way, he's been one of the dopest neo soul producers of the 90s and 2000s.
And I'm friends with Doc Rock. And
then we're all friends with Doc Rock, who I don't care. Whenever Doc Rock opens up the mic, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm cooking. I don't care what I'm doing. I got to come on. Doc Rock, who is all things Ecamm, but he also community manager with Ecamm, but also when it comes down to anything tech, and just to mess with Kia because she likes to have those green bubbles. He used to work for Apple, so then there's that.
I love my Android. He's been talking about this for years and years. I'm not getting rid of my Android. I'm a tech person too. When my Android hooks up to all of my devices, my dual screen, everything, it makes me happy. I let it go.
So you're not apostolic?
No.
Apostolic.
She got no religion. She ain't apostolic.
So
no. I'm cool.
She's a sinner.
Working at the house of Android, okay? I'm fine with it.
She's a sinner. She's not apostolic.
Oh, come on now. We all know with Apple, though. The one time they get y'all, though, is that every time they come with a new device, you have to get every new piece for that device.
Well,
they get you every time something rolls out.
Yeah, you're about to change that. You're about to change that because they messed around.
Down with it. And the funny part is that is the one thing that everybody goes to.
Yeah.
And it's true. I'm not even going to say it's not true, but it's not okay. The childish thing that everyone loves to say is, well, they just do that to make money. They don't make that much money on cables. Let's go. You can look at it. To anybody who says any company does X to make money, stop telling yourself dumb I can't say bad words. Stop telling yourself dumb stuff.
So we get
Go
two in
go to
episode.
go to the internet and download the 10. You can look at the 10. It is on the you go to any site, investors, boom. They have to report what they sold. You can look and see where they make money. Cables is at the bottom of the list. So come on for that. That's just silly. They make all of their money. Let's be legit. They
We
make
love
all of
Kia
their money
already.
off
We love
of
her already.
services. No, because I work there. So I can tell you, we make all of our money off of services. Your iCloud, your Apple Care, like, those are the joints where they make a lot of money. They also make a metric ton of money on iPhones. Cables, even if I could sell you a cable for 50 bones, right? I had to pay 10 to get it made. That $40 ain't no markup, player. What kind of business you running if $40 is your only markup? That's why you broke.
So just so y'all know, this is the tune out default for
know
Kia
when he's done,
is
so
getting
you
her
know.
lipstick done
Oh,
and all
she
that
in there,
stuff.
she in there, though.
Hey, hold up.
She in there. I love it.
It's not like being a black creator on camera,
Right, we from here. We like,
you gotta get the lips did. I use
so-
the old school rose salve bomb,
So let me
Salve,
try.
get some salve.
So let me try to act like I'm gonna try to manage this show today, but I'm really not gonna manage this. And
she's the problem. I love her. She's the problem.
I'm always the problem. Are you guys okay, really quick, are you guys coming to Miguel's birthday party?
Hey, now
I live in Honolulu, Hawaii.
I'm about to say Doc in Hawaii, and
I'm at the beach in
So
a couple
everybody's
minutes.
poor and can afford flights?
Nah,
I can afford some flights now.
But here's the thing. I'm gonna try.
He don't have enough money to put the fuel in his private jet.
Apple cables.
Right. Yeah. I'm thinking about live streaming a portion of it, but let me put some context into this conversation. All right, and so I definitely wanted to get all you guys. And first of all, Keith, Sean, appreciate Doc, appreciate y'all, man. I didn't hit you with your government a couple times, Doc. But I wanted to get all you guys. I wanted to get you guys on my show because first of all, I wanted y'all to meet Kia because she's the bomb, and
she's dope. I love Kia.
Oh yeah, I just listening to her just talk what she was just saying. It's like all of that is on point, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So Kia is actually really deep in the space of digital marketing, and so all of us, we do all this other stuff. We have fun, and it's a Sunday afternoon. But I wanted to have this music conversation, and there's no better way than to have this music conversation than there's better ways, but just because we try to be a
superstar, wish to have a fancy car, wish to have $1 million bucks. Well, I wish I know being in love. So feel me, pretty baby. I make one wish and I wish it all on you.
So here's the funny thing about you, because we're gonna have some fun today. We are gonna have some fun today, and I have a lot of respect for Ray J as a businessman because he's doing some amazing stuff in the music space. He's always gonna be Brandy's little brother. He's always gonna have that one good song that he had during his whole career. Who told that brother Keith that was a good idea?
You know what? I'm gonna say my piece on Ray J and get it out the way. First problem is I did not watch the verses. I saw a piece of it and I said, I'm not going to do it. Okay. Because I read the comments, and when I did have it on, the comments told me, don't even try. I saw what Questlove put up and I was like, don't even try. So I let it go. I worked with Ray J. I'm on a remix with Ray J, selfish plug. Darren Henson and I, we did a remix for Let It Go. Let it go. Everybody's out on the. We did a remix. They had us do some hip hop remix. I worked with the kid. Met him. Great guy.
Yeah.
Met Brandy. Didn't make her album, but great person. Talked with everything. But I'm sitting there like, who in the hell let this boy get on stage and do this? But here's my sneaker preach, and I'm done. Doc, you got the rest. Swiss Beats and them put up, that was one of the most watched verses in the whole career verses.
I'm not
everybody loves a train wreck.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's what I say in church. We don't have to turn it into a religious thing, but I said churches are packed because people shout on trash and they get quiet on truth. Okay?
That's a mic drop right there.
The industry starts to do that too. So when you see a bunch of people, oh, you need to go to this church, you need to go to that church, and it's all filled, you can kind of get a sense on there's a lot of truth left out of that. Because the truth of it, this is why people like Doc, myself, or I'm gonna just say Doc, the docs that I love and I know that will break down, because I know he knows about stuff. So there's the hype person that says, oh, you need to get this mic. And everybody gets it because that person said it. Then when Doc comes out with the truth and say, hey, you can get that player, but if you need to understand, it's made by Puma, not Nike. And people go, get the hell out of here. No, it's not. No, it's not. And they get mad. But the hype is always on not being true to what it really is. So now when you get cats acting like a bunch of fools, here's the problem. There's a lot of people that says, hell, I can do that. The music industry is jacked just because of that. So if the entertainment level went up because of all that nonsense, people going to laugh, but another fool going to go in the studio and say, I can be an American.
Like legit, and Doc, I'm gonna come to you, bro. But when you had, it's a funny thing. I didn't watch any of it, but about 12 seconds. Let me tell you the 12 seconds that I caught. The 12 seconds of that mess I called last night. Omarion was singing, eating watermelon. I said, I'm done. I'm done.
And then she was still in the crowd, and she ate it. I was like, ew. No.
It was like, dude, I'm rolling over. It's like 11:15. I said, well, I pick up my phone. I check my phone. Oh, that verse is going on. Let me turn it on. I'm holding my phone. This dude is singing and eating watermelon. I said, what the hell? I said, I'm done. But
I mean, you had Jill and Erykah Badu when it was still hard COVID, and they were in their cribs. No band, no get the mic. The people that you want to have the mic, other than Mary, like I'm like, y'all need to do all of the previous ones.
Didn't I just
doing
say that,
over
kid?
on stage?
You
could have let them guys stay home, and it would have been way better if you just played their record and let them flex in front of TV. So here's the scenario. 100%. Then Omarion could have sat there and cut the watermelon, eat it, and say, I'm gonna play this joint. Don't get the mic.
Oh my God, man! The industry is crazy right now. The industry,
we got more opinion to get in before I start cracking jokes. So
right,
let him go ahead.
Go ahead, Doc.
Well, first of all, let me just say, sexy can I? Here's the problem.
That's good.
There are some epic versus battles. Now, before we get to the thing that Beats and them created during the pandemic, we always had, your Ford and Chevy, you had like the Camaro versus the Firebird, which was a BS versus in the first place. They were the exact same car people. So we have known all the way since the days of Adolf and Rudolph that you can make a fake controversy and sell billions. So to my folks who's not educated, I am a hardcore Adidas man. Adi, real name Adolf, Adi Dassler, has his shoe company, Adidas. His brother, Rudolph, has his shoe company called Puma. And they invented the fake fight eons ago. And like had people like in full-on camps ready to get the fisticuffs over which one was better. And them cats was at the dinner table was like, yo, I got some new flats coming out today. They go, oh yeah, me too. What colorway you gonna rock? I think I'm gonna do red and blue. He's like, all right, you do red and blue, I'll do red and black. And they're both. So we've been doing fake controversy on the levels for whatever. But here's where the versus thing gets me. So much dope stuff out there you can go for. How you going to pick two no-hit wonders and put them on something and have it be, first of all, they was both whacked from the gate.
Doc, you are unbelievably right. And the New York Pro said this was the most highly anticipated toe-to-toe between them. I was like, no, it wasn't. Nobody was anticipating.
No, it was not. Yo, Dipset, okay, the Dipset battle, bam. Right? Yeah. Even if we could go Pac and Biggie without them being there, just play their influence and their hits and stuff, that I would be about. Right. I mean, if I was going to pick between Omarion and Marcus Houston, I'll pick Marcus Houston. I'm just saying. Like, why you pick these two scrubs and throw them up there?
Man.
And also, did they have enough hits? And they must not have had enough hits to go toe-to-toe from what it seems like, because for the first time ever, they had a pre-battle. And that's where the craziness started with Ray J, Jeremiah, and there's another little boy who grew up and no one knew who he was.
How
What
you
was
hit
his
him
name?
with the you hit him with the little boy?
What his name is?
Lil Sammy.
Bobby.
Lil Sammy.
Oh, I thought it was Bobby Valentino.
Because he
It
got
was
a
Bobby
little in his
Valentino,
name.
too. It was all of them.
And Bobby
It was all-
Valentino is decent. Like Mario,
he can sing.
They can sing. Mario can sing.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
and I give those boys their props. When I saw Ray J, I said, "Come on." I tried to Kia tried to hum it. That's about the tonight. Isn't that the one with Lil Kim? I think Lil Kim was on it.
Listen, there's two reasons why Ray J is famous. Period.
Mhm.
One,
Nepotism.
his sister,
Yeah.
Nepotism.
and the second reason, Kardashian. He invented Kim Kardashian by
He
accident.
did. He did.
It's no matter what.
He did.
So other than that,
That is so true.
But it's more, wait a minute, it's more than nepotism. When you think about it, we always talk about nepotism in corporate America and politics, but Brandy started this. He is the equivalent of when you go outside and go hang with your friends, your mom looks at you and go, take your little brother with you so y'all can go together. So you want to take your little brother with you, let him sit in the back.
I'm gonna get in all kind of trouble for bringing this into the female camp, Solange. But same thing.
And you are not.
Hold on. Solange's album was dope, though.
Down.
Solange's
Sit
album
your
was
ass
dope.
all the way down. Okay.
After her
The
first
best
Black
thing
album,
Solange
though.
ever did in her life was slap the shit out of Sean.
Right.
Oh my
No,
God.
I wasn't supposed to say
wasn't
that.
good. Remember her first album when she had the long braids for no reason? No one liked
No.
that album. They just bought it because she was Beyonce's little sister. She didn't get
Right.
a good album until 2020.
That album was dope. That album a couple years ago was dope.
What
It was
Mick said is right though. Anybody remember the first album? No.
no.
No. there was a first album.
Yeah, no, really?
And it was
Okay.
bad.
Okay. All right. So let's get this out the way. Keith, I would love to get your response to Kia's claim that the millennials can claim neo soul.
Shit, did we come back to
Listen,
Yeah, I'm not gonna let that get. I'm not gonna. This is the tiebreaker right here.
so wait, are y'all ready for this? So last week, you won't be able to watch it now. Last week I was on TV One.
You were.
Shout outs to
Hold on, because before you finish that, let me just tell you how I'm in the bed and I'm watching this because I'm a neo soul fan, big time. But my head was turned and I heard your voice, and I was like,
wow.
I said, hold up, that's Keith.
Yeah, I do not want to hear Keith's voice when I'm in bed.
Chilling, right? That part. But it's so funny because when they did his interview, I looked at it because Kia, if you don't know, Keith's got the dopest studio. He got about 20 cameras in that. He got about 20 cameras in that studio.
I'm surprised the one he on ain't moving.
Right. He got the moving joint and the up top and all this, right? And so I see them do the shot, and I'm like, that's in Keith's crib. They didn't have to go to a studio for that. They did that. But go ahead, Keith.
Wait, hey Doc, I think I told you the camera guy loved me because you know these glasses that I have, right? I got 2 pair of these. They're not expensive, right? So Doc, I had these in my pocket, and when they were like setting me up, getting the lights, they said, "Yeah, he's got glasses on." So I took these glasses off, put the other ones on with the lenses out.
Yeah.
And the guy looked up and he was like, "Yeah, so make sure you adjust." He said, "Wait, oh, your glasses don't have a glare." Then he said, "Wait, I thought you had lens." And I was just like, I said, I kind of do this. I was like, so
I'm a pro at this, man.
Yeah, I was like, he's like, yo, I like this guy. He's like, what do you do? And I kind of told him a little bit. He was like, yo, man, thank you so much. They didn't know what to do with themselves. So yeah, that's the sidebar. But here's the crazy thing. I did the interview last September.
Okay.
My boy Carvin Higgins, he did Music Soul Child, a bunch of stuff. He's done Trying to Find My Way Back, all of that stuff. He wrote Love and all of that. So Carv's on there. They got his interview. He's on there the most. They make it about Erykah Badu and D'Angelo. But you got Jill on there. You brought me in there from A Touch of Jazz. I'm music, right. Jill, Floetry, Will Smith, Philly people mostly. And outside of that, bunch of other names. However, my issue was always, we never called it neo soul when people were calling it neo soul. We was just like, we just some Negroes doing music, right? We church boys, shout out to the musicians on Versus because there are some Philly cats, my homies, my boys that, everybody was like, y'all sounded good though. But y'all was churching it, but nevertheless, great musicians, right?
Right.
But neo soul, I kind of got into all these conversations on people that hated neo soul or hated the title or whatever Philly was doing. And it's like, we just doing music. And shout out to my boy Andre Harris. He said on the interview, he said the essence of it was we stopped it when we thought it was enough. That's basically all it was. It was music that we was just like, okay, was different with us when you got everybody doing it, and adding everything, a little more cowbell and all. We just did, this is enough. Every song that was a hit for me, I literally got no more than 3 chords in the song. The Grammy was off of 3 chords.
What you got
bloom,
your Grammy
bloom,
from? What you got
Cross
Grammy
my
for?
mind. Cross my mind with Jill.
Right,
3
right,
chords.
right,
Bloom, bloom, bloom.
Yeah.
And then the filler chord. Bloom, bloom. It's Love, the go-go song. Boom, 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 boom.
Dude,
Done. Right?
It's Love is so simple, but it's so dope. Like,
right.
We used to bang that joint at the end of live streams, and I'm like, being the YouTube coach, I'm sitting around waiting for YouTube to be like, "Hey, you can't play this in your stream." He'd be like, "Yes, I can." Look, my name is Ratched.
Right. So it's so crazy, man. When I think about this music, and I think about, and I'm picking with Kia just because that's what I do. But
no, he's not.
I am.
He just wants you to rub this in my face for the next year, which is fine.
Kia, you tried it. She tried to say, we got Music Soul Child, we got Anthony Hamilton. I'm like, yo, they not even yours. Stop.
No, whoa. I never said Anthony Hamilton. I did say Music Soul Child. I didn't say Anthony Hamilton.
Baby,
don't put words in my mouth.
It's on the clip. I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna do it to you.
Find it. Prove it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Doc, why you I'm gonna go find it.
I'm sorry. Because I'm thinking, right, like if you really go back, we start in that like Prince, Tony. We talking about, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, Terrence Trent D'Arby, Mint Condition, like the cats that was trying to, where the heck did Keith go?
I don't know.
Cats that was trying to bring back the OG soul music, right? So again, they didn't label it neo soul, but what they were doing after hip hop was coming through and everything was getting a little bit dance music and everything was getting a little bit poppy, there was these guy groups, these 5-member guy groups that was like, let's get back to the old school joints, like the Stylistics kind of type thing, the Four Tops type thing, the OJs type thing, right? So you even seen it in a fit, right? Like I know Kenny, like I'm sorry, Babyface. I know Babyface because he pulled a group out of Hawaii. See, I can do some stuff too, Keith. He pulled a group out of Hawaii and put them on his album Soul Food. And in the album Soul Food, he highlighted the old school soul sound in that movie because it matched the picture. And a lot of the groups that he picked to be on that joint, they did the late 60s style in 95. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, a lot of the younger groups couldn't necessarily do that. So on that album, you got a good mix of young groups and older groups mixed together on that one particular album. So in a way, like it came from a lot of places. I think Kenny had a lot to do with popularizing it. And then Tracy, she built her career on building these quote unquote neo soul groups. But if you really want to be true about it, they pulled the sound from the 60s and they brought it up. And then people sleep on Indego Cello. I even mess her name up. But you know, like Michelle was in the piece, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh man, when I'm in the house circa 95 and I heard everybody I was like, oh boom, hey Mr. I'm a DJ. They made a song for me. Oh, rap. I went to the store. I need everything that sounds like this. And then my man's like, okay, you need a little D'Angelo, you need a little of this, you need a little of that, you know. So it was crazy.
Wait, I think I made my comment, since this is really about an ambush and I'm getting fired on, it feels like, is when I remember in college, because I came into college in 2003, and that's what everybody was listening to constantly. All of a sudden, it went from one thing to another thing, and it didn't just come with just the music. Now, all the girls are dressing differently. All the vibes of parties are changing. Like, everybody's not trying to... What'd you say?
No, I agree with you.
Oh, no, his mic is muted. He's trying
Keith,
to talk.
your mic is muted. We can't hear you, Keith.
Oh.
Still muted. That's fine. We'll come back to you. But yes, everybody's vibe trying to kind of change. So I guess I feel like it kind of happened in the early 2000s because it seemed like everything went from one thing to the baby fat outfits to now everybody's trying to do the neo soul, boho girl, boho guy, relaxed house party vibe, if that makes sense.
So the thing about it with me is that I don't even really like a lot of. She tried to, you see that? She tried to slick clown me, Doc, talking about I'm old. So I'm so into the type of vibe in music that I kind of almost skipped over most of the '90s R&B because it sounded like it was too programmed for me. Like I'm not a smooth jazz dude. I'm a Thelonious Monk. I'm a I'm an old school contemporary jazz type of fan. So when we kind of went,
you didn't like that.
No, so that's a whole different vibe. CC Peniston, that's a whole.
Hey, Miguel,
Yeah.
but check this out. So my bad. I had to reset something, but. So I kind of understood in this one interview I was in, because I asked the interview, I said, why do you think they called it neo soul? And I heard somebody basically say neo was just adding on something kind of like the Matrix because it wasn't the soul of yesterday. So I worked with Earth, Wind, and Fire right before Maurice White died.
Wow.
If you drop one more name on this
listen, I'm talking what's relevant. I'm talking what's relevant because because we're sitting there asking them, and they're like intrigued with the stuff that we did. Like, well, Doc said it first. I just had a throwback picture with Babyface, and I worked with his brother Kevon Edmonds, right? Babyface, Puffy, you name them, they came. Jam and Lewis came to A Touch of Jazz to say, how the hell are y'all doing this? Like they came to find out how did y'all put them records together? Not because they were trying to figure out something new. It's because like, damn, nobody's really doing this right now except the super eclectic bands that wasn't really mainstream. We just pulled back stuff and said, hey, we don't need extra cowbell, the tuba in the track and all of that, even though it's live. We just said, here, can you reproduce this on stage real quick? And let's take the stage and put it on the record. That's all basically we did. We never claimed that we're doing something that everybody else claimed. And then they grouped it all together because we like, oh, snap, thank you. But it's like Jill and Music came after.
The old DJs did that. We grouped it because we needed a name for what is this new style soul music coming out.
Right.
And we called it Neo Soul.
That's good.
You want to know the day that Neo Soul was born? March 9th, 1997. Period, point blank, in the story, fighting.
Got you.
Okay.
That's
good. The day that Biggie got shot.
I was going to say that's Biggie, yeah.
Yep,
the
that's
day
good.
that got shot, neo soul was invented, and here's why: because the West Coast, East Coast manufactured beef was insane. I was in LA the day before he got shot. I was with their party because of my station. I was going to the awards too, right? And I was with my A&R man from Arista Records, J Stock. And so while we were there, I mean, I'm cruising with your boys from Philly, right? I'm cruising with Wanya and them because that was our crew. They always came to Hawaii. They loved Hawaii. They used to camp out in our backyard. So
he name dropped.
I'm here for all the name drops. I'm here for every last one of them. Go ahead, Doc.
My partner on the radio here, his name is Jay Park. Jay called me up and was like, dude, I'm not doing the show by myself. Bring your butt home. And I'm like, nah, fam, I'm going to the awards, right? And we came from a birthday, strangely enough, we came from a birthday party for Tone Loc. We were at this place in Century Center, LA, and we was on our way back, and my partner was like, come home. And he called my boss, and my boss was like, you got to come home. And I was like, nah, man, I'm going to the awards. I'll deal with the repercussions when I get back. But I felt bad. Jay was my roommate, so I came home. I landed. I walked into the studio, and everybody's silent. And they're like, what y'all look like that for? I'm home, And they're like, nah, you ain't here. And I was like, of course I hear. I've been in the plane. They're like, yo, Biggie got shot. I was supposed to be with that party. Like, so I would have been not in that exact car, but I would have been in the vicinity.
Yeah.
So I say that when Biggie died, all of hip hop, everybody, we all looked at each other and we were like, we need to do something. And Puffy being Puffy, he pulled Faith out of nowhere and like, yo, we going to happy music. And then all the neo soul cats was sitting around like, yeah, our stuff is ready to go. The record labels was like, we've been shelving this. Some of this stuff was
Right.
pre-produced. Let's get it correct.
That's real.
But
It's
record
almost like
labels
you
were
just want to
shelving
break.
it. Yes,
Mhm.
they needed to change the environment.
Yeah, exactly.
And so on the flip of a dime, all the A&R guys, all the Tony Mottolas and all of those cat at RCA,
Yep.
it was like,
Kedar.
here
And
you
honestly,
go.
that makes sense
Make
really
some
quick.
Right.
Casey
It
and
makes
Kojo.
sense because when you think about it, all of a sudden, all these amazing artists came out of nowhere. Like it's like,
Nowhere.
oh,
Mhm.
okay, so you had this person, and then this person, and then he was chilling out with like all these people just had albums out of nowhere.
Well,
That
you
is-
know, the thing about it is that they're always there. There are
Yes.
people like
It's a lot of
Keith
stuff on the
that
shelf
are
right now.
there. They just don't ever expose us to these artists. And now we're seeing a resurgence of it because in the Neo Soul joint they did on TV1, when they talked about Michelle Ngeocello from DC, that's another thing that you know, music was, and we can be music snobs all we want. Hip hop at that point was pretty much coming out of New York and maybe as far south. You know, me being from VA, we got to give props to the VA movement with Teddy Riley and Pharrell and Timberland and Missy and that whole vibe in the early 90s. But we really was so snobbish in that college corridor. Exactly. You know, but the thing about it
Yo,
was,
Let's Chill is a neo soul song if you want to try to play it that way.
well, you know, but the New Jack Swing leading into, I think here's the thing about it, Keith. And Keith, I want to get your perspective on this because you was in the mix. I think we got tired. We were hip hop. It was programmed. Then we got into New Jack Swing, which was further programmed music.
Right.
But then who snuck in the back door from hip hop was the Roots, right? So we was like, oh, these cats are dope. You know, you got Quest with the big hair. You got the
I
whole
shall
thing. You know,
proceed.
you know,
That's my joint.
That's my joint. That's exactly when he said Roots. That's what's going in my head. Instantly.
the Roots,
that is forever
the
my
Roots,
track.
and then you go back a little bit. Even though Tribe and Native Tongue was programmed, they brought those samples in that I give when I talk about me the love of that type of era of traditional jazz. It was De La Soul, Tribe who introduced me to Thelonious Monk and John Coltrane, because they would be dropping these samples that wasn't James Brown, because everybody was using James Brown. They dropped these other samples, and I was like, what is that? And I've been a Tribe fan ever since.
Oh,
So wait a minute, can I bring this a little
you
bit
forgot
more?
about Diggable Planets, dude.
Diggable, yeah.
Planet.
Yeah.
Yo, the backpack set probably has more to do with the rebirth of Neo Soul that never gets any credit for it,
Right.
because everybody was making fun of the backpack set. But
Right.
the backpack set was the black kids that was about being smart. They was about not processing their hair. They was about no more waves. They was about the natural cut.
Right.
They was about the original dreads that weren't Jamaican dreads, because
Right.
not all dreads had to be Rastafari, right?
No.
They were
Right.
bringing back the African joints, the African medallions.
Absolutely.
You know, Diggable Planet, dude, their logo was the freaking pig,
was
son.
was a,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So the
You know what a
backpack
lot of
set
people-
actually started it off, but nobody gives them any credit because everybody hated them. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So wait a minute, let me
Carly.
jump in really, really quick because you
Go
know
ahead.
I'm younger than you guys. I think by maybe a good.
Enough
Don't
time.
watch yourself now.
Watch
Joy.
yourself.
Come on, little sis.
But
Come
let
on,
me
little
hear, I
sis.
know a lot of people are putting different artists in this day in the Neo Soul group, and sometimes I'm like that doesn't count. For example, everybody kept saying that Jhené Aiko was Neo Soul, and I'm always like, no, I'm gonna take a
she's
hard
really
pass on
new
that.
to
I
that.
don't think she is, but it's always seems that they're trying to fit a new person into what it used to be, and it never fits. It always just seems forced. So is there anybody in this day and age that really does fit that Neo Soul vibe of the younger group of people?
Yeah.
Well, look,
I
here's
just
what's
go ahead,
I
interesting.
just got to do
They-
this real fast. It's Aiko, Jhené Aiko. どうしては俺は日本語のできだからもうAikoは日本人。もうハーフ半人の人がそして Aiko, not Aiko.
Okay.
Aiko.
Translate, Doc. Translate that for
I
Keith.
said she's half Japanese and I'm a Japanese major. I speak Japanese. Her name is Aiko. It means love child.
There we go. All right. Go ahead, Keith.
Well, no, here's the thing. So let me drop this on y'all. One of the ways that I would explain the understanding of like neo soul that most people don't do is take the record. So Doc's a DJ. He goes way back with records, wax, the whole nine, right? The turntables, you know, techniques. Okay. So me sitting around Jazzy Jeff for so many years and trying to be a DJ myself, which never worked.
Hold on. I need a little joint name drop. I need a
Listen,
sound for that.
He's still my favorite. He's still my favorite DJ. Like,
yo,
my
by
favorite,
far, I'm subscribed to his mob
DJ.
VIP.
I
All
love
that.
DJ Active as the newer like generation guy. Okay, Active, I give him credit. And these are people I personally know. And then Kenny Dope and Louis Vega, Masters at Work. That's my dude. That's my dudes on the dance scene, right?
Okay.
So here's the thing. Back rolling with them, we would help Jeff with the crates just to change records.
Yeah.
Now everything is in the computer.
Right.
Does that make them, did the DJ change or the methodology of how you play the music change, right? When you really think about it.
Changed because you know what it got, Keith? Crate digging got easier when we went digital.
Right.
Yeah.
We used to have to go to like yard sales or go to these old crusty libraries and dig in. The only reason why I had a library card so I could check out old jazz albums to try to get samples that ain't nobody else had.
Right.
You know?
So
because I
here's
moved
the
out
point.
here, so I was away from my uncles and them. But when I was at home, I had that. But when I moved, I'm in Hawaii, where I'm gonna go find some soul jazz joints in the basement of the state library, smell like wet.
So look, here's the crazy thing. So when I look at Jeff spinning now and knowing the days of the crates and stuff, he's the same guy, right? And then anybody he trains or whatever, or anybody that's like mentored by him or that are influenced by him, they're still pulling from the guy that he is consistently. So when you look at music was never, these are the same chords that were being used on Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes back in the day, Patti LaBelle's old record. One more name drop. I worked with Patti LaBelle. So that was just, I was like, yes, Patti, right? But it's just like when you work with her, you got to kind of pull from who Patty's already been. So now it was kind of like, oh, Patti got a neo soul record. Does she have a neo soul record, or is she just doing a record today? And the music that we doing is just music. So it's like, it's kind of hard. So in the interview, it's funny because that show went through something, and let me just throw this in there. So Fateen from Kindred is like family to me, right? His grandfather was a deacon in our church, one of the founding deacons. So we're like cousins in a sense, right? They said some young guy, PhD guy from Philly, that wasn't even born around the era of what we call neo soul. He's the expert on there. He says Kindred and the family stone, not soul. Fateen got freaking pissed. They pulled it off of the air. It's off the air, right?
Oh,
it's like
so it was in what I watched. I just missed it.
Yeah, and a lot of people missed it. So he's naming everybody. He says Kindred and the family stone. It's like, whoa, how'd you say stone? Like soul, bro. Like if you're an expert, get that right. And then TV One didn't get it right. Right.
Well, here's the thing. TV One, the production company, when you go to their website, it's not a blackface on their production company site.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
Anyway.
And shout outs to McCole who put it together. And I'm like, yo, this is just a bad black eye that somebody let that go. And no, it's like somebody saying ECAM and you take one of the M's out of there or something. You understand what I'm saying? Like
you can't mess that up, man.
You can't mess that up.
Funny when they do stuff like that. Like okay,
it wasn't put together well.
Eardrop or earworm or whatever on Vice, they do a good job. They do their research. They're pretty good. But sometimes I'm like, fam, all of the people you could have asked this question, you went down the wrong. Like y'all talking about, like, I'll pick a random example. Y'all talking about 808s or whatever, and you ain't talked to Mantronics. Like, cool. How you gonna get into 808s and not talking about Mantronics? Or but there was a recent piece that one of these guys did that broke down the genius of what Kendrick Lamar is putting out and how deeply thoughtful and cerebral his lyrics are, including some of his pentameter is mathematic. Like he'll mix something in that match the name of the title in his pentameter. And I'll find you a link to the video. I'll send it to you. Maybe you can put it in the thing. Everybody wants to see it in the description. To me, I guess I'm saying we're getting to this thing with labels that causes unnecessary rifts because at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, soul is straight up worth more than music, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best soul artists in the game right now are from soul with the E. But ain't nobody going to give them that because
Mm-hmm.
we are attaching soul to blackness because we get everything taken from us.
Mm.
But the reality of it is, as a person who's traveled the world, when you go to the street food, that's soul food everywhere. That is somebody's grandma's recipe that was fed to them when you was feeling some type of way and you needed a recover. So
Yeah.
like yesterday, hey, I had a horrible day. Why? I was out in the streets with, live streaming protests because the Navy like tried to poison the water out here and they lied about it. So I'm
Mm.
at this, water in Hawaii is life, right? It's kind of a thing. So I'm
Yeah.
at this protest, I'm doing the live stream and stuff like that. And just hearing these passionate people talk about, the stuff they're going through and watching the little babies that got sick from drinking water with the air jet fuel in it, whatever. Like I was irritated when I came home.
Sorry, really quick. You're gonna have to explain this whole story because that what you just said is a lot, and no one has
Yeah, it's
heard.
a lot. I will give you links and stuff to check it out, but it's
Yeah.
been recently
Yeah.
reported. We're trying to get the Navy fuel tanks out of a place called Red Hill. It's a long story. But anyway, that would just weighed a lot. So when I came home, I was like, yo, I could really use some good soul food. But like I'm here. So I ain't got nobody to make me like cheese grits, or like macaroni and cheese or something. So I think the thing that we do is we start using labels to gatekeep.
Yeah.
And this is where Kia's right. Don't gatekeep her. Let her like what she like.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who started it because the music does heal, right? I know
Absolutely.
that Keith feels a way when he plays Is Love at the end of his joint and the Keith gets a little head nod or whatever. Like he's changing people's lives with that. He introduced a bunch of people to that older song when he started with Ecam, right? So even her listening to us crusty people talk about some older joints, maybe she'll go dig into some of the artists that we talk about and be like,
Absolutely.
okay, I see where they got that from. So we
Absolutely.
should treat it as open the gate. Let's let more folks discover. Let's spread it instead of like trying to slap a label on it because the music label want us to fight about something. So
Yeah.
that
And
music label fights cause sales. Period.
let me reset the room here real quick, and because I want us to talk a little bit about tech and music and the evolution of it, right? So just for people tuning in, our Life Full Circle audience, we got Keith Pelter, Grammy Award winning producer. These two guys, Keith and Doc Rock, who works with Ecamm, and that's just one of the things he does. One of the dopest cats I know personally in live streaming space. But Doc's a former DJ, Keith's a dope producer, and Kia is that's the super producer. So that's the super producer. But
she'll be working with Don Lemon next week.
Right.
No, I won't. The Republican side of me would shoot myself in the mouth.
By the way, Kia's a Republican.
You won't be on Hannity.
I won't do that either. I wouldn't do that either.
Yeah.
I'm not, There's a middle ground.
I'm messing with you, sis. I'm messing with you.
So
I love her.
So yeah, that's my fan right there. So here's the thing. So we talk about the question was asked, Kia, you asked earlier, who's doing it? I believe her is doing it. I believe,
right, yes.
What's my man, the brother Smoke from out in D Smoke in L.A. I think he's doing it.
Summer Walker,
he's so good.
Summer Walker on there too.
Summer Walker, so there are artists who get it, right? And it always comes back to the genesis because I'm a brand new heavies. I'm a Incognito. I'm a you know what I mean.
Mel LaRue,
So when you start bringing in those type
Cameron
of
Waller.
artists. It's about the musicality of it, and I'm not a musician. My brothers can sing and all. Who's that?
The Isleys brothers' granddaughter or daughter has an album out. Or had an album out. What is her name?
Just came through.
You got me on that one. I don't know.
She's an
I know
Isley, but I can't think of her.
Well, she Isley, then she definitely got some great pedigree. But when we think about the industry now, the industry right now musically, and the problem with it is that musically the industry, a lot of it is trash, but they're making so much money. These young cats know how to come out here and they know how to flip these songs that we'll never play again. There's not a song, these songs that 5 years from now, you're not going to dig in the crates and go say, I want to go put this on a playlist. But they're making a boatload of money, which means the industry says, do that again. And hey, do that again. And let's do that again. You think about now the controversy around Drake dropping what's basically a club music album, and true club heads are losing their minds right now. But Drake and Beyonce have the formula. You know, so 4 years ago, Beyonce was like, I'm going to get into this Afrobeats thing. Everybody's loving this Afrobeats thing. Now I'm going to do a whole album about, with Afrobeats. And so now I'm going to move, or maybe the club thing is now the thing that I'm going to be doing, right?
And I hate that. As someone who's a house music fan, her and whole Drake's new thing trying to make it popular. I've been a house music fan. Miguel Miggs is my favorite house music artist. And now everybody's like, oh my God, what is this? I've never heard of this. I only hear this in H&M. No, there's other house music artists out there.
Hey, wait. Let me insert this, and I'll get right back to you, Miguel. So here's what I thought about. So my wife is from DC, right? Doc's from DC streets and stuff. They know go-go.
Uptown, Northwest 14th Columbia Road right here.
Oh, you DC too?
DC and Virginia, yeah.
So Tina,
funk, baby. Experience Unlimited, y'all.
Yeah,
Tina's Southeast.
Hold on. Go ahead. You about to pull something out of me?
No, I'm gonna give it to you. Here's the best thing. Darren and Jill and I were working on It's Love, and we're doing the song, and we were trying to do it. It was starting to feel real jazzy, right? It was jazzy. And we scratched it, and it sat on the drive until after she got the deal kind of going. And then we pulled it back up and said, let's try something else with it. And then we went, hey, let's do go-go, because her ex-husband's from DC. Lizelle, he's a DJ. He's from DC. And it was just like, oh, you know what? We was hanging out in DC. I met Mike Tyson down there, a few other people, and I was like, yo, DC got that and like take doing the butt, but slow it down, because I was like, I like how they band rolls, right? And it's just that cowbell and the clook, clock, the clook, clook, that same beat. Right. So we said, let's do that with this song. Jill liking it, and it's just like, do you want it on Kyle Green? You know, It's Love. Bring Jeff Bradshaw in there, and we doing all that. The background, give it to me, you know, because we thinking them old school Diana Ross and them singers back there, give it to me, the high notes. We having fun. Here's what I'm about to tell you. So I keep it basic, played it all the way through. Don't sequence it. Play it all the way through on a 50 key roads and all of this and that. Keep the grit, the mood bass, the whole nine. Here goes the point. We did a go-go song, and we put it on a soul-like record, and DC respected it. Absolutely. They loved it, and they didn't say, y'all trying to be DC or that's some fake go-go music. DC, you know why?
Has never gone after anybody for doing go-go. That's the funny thing about us.
It was so respectful. All kind of stuff. Yo, Jill got on stage at Constitution Hall, I think it is, right? And she said, they said, blue, and DC was like, you know, we gonna sing this, right? You here with us, you Jill, but we gonna take this over. And they said, they say the whole crowd said, crazy, cause you got me. And all DC was like, yeah. They embraced it. They accepted. Their artists started doing the song over. But here's the thing that's going to sound crazy. We never did a go-go album. It was not necessary. Ty Tribbett does a go-go song. Bam, bam, boom, do. Ty Tribbett does it. Kirk Franklin does a go-go song. The issue is now the people are having problems with like a Drake and Beyonce. I think it's still a smart move from a money standpoint of view. Capitalize on it. It's easy. You helping all these other people out that been doing dance music, and now you throw a Beyonce, you throw a Drake on there, and now it's out there. It'll be spinning, and now the doors open again for everybody who was struggling, because now it's popular again. It's going to be popular.
Absolutely.
Capitalize and get it when it's going. You know how many neo soul like songs started surfacing after we kind of got finally put on?
Absolutely.
Everybody, you just jump in with the ride. Why? Because it's a business. Absolutely. And then there are real artists like Jean from Jeanne. Yeah. Her and her husband, the Baylor Project, they're in the small jazz club singing. They're at home practicing.
Beyonce and Drake have done are going to actually open up people to house music in general. Because, for example, Billy Porter, everybody knows Billy Porter from Pose, Broadway, whatever, has a massive dance album out right now that's not popularized, but it's the same thing, if not better than what Drake and Beyonce have put out.
But you're concerned about the quality, and we're all guilty of this. We're all guilty of you know, the people who are complaining about this house dance thing with Beyonce and Drake are people like us. Not looking at it and saying you're introducing it to a 30 and under crowd who never really got into house music. And then
it's a legit argument. It's a legit argument. The thing,
but
the thing is,
by the gatekeeping, fam. That's exactly what I mean by the gatekeeping. We don't mean to, but it's because we do care about integrity. But like, as somebody, you know, strangely enough, when I first started Ecamm, I did a show for like a year with Smoking Scott Sills. He is one of the kings of house music. Like they back in Chicago when they first started putting house music on the radio, like Scott was one of the first DJs to put house music on the radio anywhere. He's Hot Mix 5. Like, and so there's people in her camp of house music that might not even know the Hot Mix 5 because all the Hot Mix 5 guys are 60 now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They were the OGs, right? Frankie Knuckles and Ralphie them, they were the OGs. But a lot of people wouldn't know that. But I'm curious, baby girl, where did you get house music from? What was your introduction that made you fall in love with house music?
Do I have to tell the real story?
No, I would just love it.
It's relevant. I see where you're going.
It's only us. Ain't nobody else here but us.
So my introduction was I went on a date with a white boy when it was in my early 20s, and that's all he liked. And I was in the car with him and really started to vibe the music. He's like, here, you can take these 5 CDs. So I took these 5 CDs home and listened to them nonstop. Like, and that was all I played for a very long time. And even now, if I'm trying to just vibe and relax, it's just that music. It's just like, honestly, my favorite house music album is Miguel Miggs' New Tempo 1. Literally on repeat all the time, in my phone, in the car, for the kids. It's my favorite thing.
You know, it's
Murder
really
podcast in that album.
I did a podcast interview with him when I was first doing my DJ show with Miggs, and it's funny, but again, because like those cats, they were looking up to the cats that we were working with. But again, see, this is how these introductions happen, right? And okay, as an East Coaster, when we started trying to play house music, Chicago was mad at us, really, really mad at us. And then we started inventing hip house, you know? So we mixed the New York with the Chicago, and then that gave it credence and it blew up. It wasn't technically our fault. London kids did that, but we got blamed for it. But it took house music out of Chicago and made it global. So if it wasn't for some London kids basically whiting it up just enough to let it out of the hood in Chicago, house music might not never got out. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we got to stop gatekeeping, because you never know what your gatekeeping doesn't become the expansion that lets you go. And just to put it, it's called a callback in comedy. My old boss was getting gatekeeped by the phone companies because you don't know nothing about making phones, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? The most number one selling device in the world, next to Android phones, outsell us, we know. But I'm just saying, we wouldn't even have that style of phone. So you being an Android person who loves your Android, and you can have that. I'm not going to hate you for that ever. That wouldn't even exist had he listened to the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not going to kick this gate down. I'm going to burn this.
That still counts as a name drop, by the way. You didn't say it, but it still counts as name drop. So on that,
what name you talking about? Tim Cook?
Yeah,
that was a name drop.
Let me just say,
actually, Tim was my immediate boss. Steve was more up the chain.
You used to hang out with Steve Jobs, man. I saw you in the book.
No, I only got to talk to him once, and I was scared. I was literally scared, and all he asked me in the lunchroom was what I was getting to eat. And if you had the wrong question, you would get fired. You would get fired. So I never wanted to talk to them. I would hide when I saw them.
Fired.
Let me just say, man, did this, and I didn't even tell Kia this, because sometimes, I can't tell everything because the producer will put the kibosh on stuff, right? So I purposely said, we're going to do our thing at the top of the hour, because I knew this was going to run over. We normally do 5 to 6. It's now 6:20. It is what it is. I knew this was going to run over.
Here's the thing that's messed up, guys. He knows this. I'm hearing my husband tried to struggle with our 3 kids. All I hear is screaming and yelling and cursing and little babies laughing at my husband because they're like, "Why are you out here? You have no idea what you're doing. Where's our mom?"
Let me apologize to you and Omar, and this is why.
Shout out to Kia's husband.
let me apologize.
Hold up. If he's got the kids, tell him to pick up one of the kids, grab a mic, and sing something, Ray J style.
That should be the new challenge. That should be the new TikTok challenge.
I feel you. Dad's holding their kids singing. Oh my
God. You know who already did it? You know who already did it? You know who already did it?
Who that?
Did Questlove do it?
Kev on stage.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Kev on stage got about a 9-year-old child. He holding it in his arms, trying to. So, oh my God! So, guys, man, I really do appreciate y'all coming on and doing this, and I love to chop this up again and go a little bit deeper. All the name drops were lovely. I loved every last one.
Man, you just got to get Miss Tina on, Keith's wife, me and you, and we could just have a go-go reminiscence. I mean,
I can't even speak. Y'all DC people
get
got it.
Junkyard Band, so wind me up.
Sardines. Hey,
yo, I didn't know. I just learned the lyrics. 3 o'clock at the Waffle. What's the Waffle House joint?
No. Before we go
all right, here's the thing. I'm gonna sit up here and I'm gonna drop Kia out because Kia got to go. Y'all say
she's a Republican. She can hang.
Y'all say good day to Kia.
What does that mean?
The Republicans don't mean nothing. It's just Kia.
Night. It's Sunday night.
Kia, yo was going in there.
It's starting to itch. Like I have to get this mop off my head.
Look.
Hey, you
gotta keep it Sade up in here. And just, you gotta go Neo Soul. You gotta go Sade.
Kia, we appreciate you. I'm gonna let you go, and me and Keith and Doc gonna stay here until they say I'm out. All right.
Hold on. What's her husband's name?
Omar, yeah.
Omar, you running that thing, brother. He like, yo, get off the phone now.
No, he's not. Honestly, I think the bus here and gave me the angry Indian eyes of, you're the wife here, get out here and do your job. But that's a whole other conversation.
Oh, my God. All right, sis. I love you.
Right. All right. That was amazing.
All right, peace. All right,
that's absolutely good, man. You know, it's funny. You know what's so great about the conversation, because I just did a podcast recently talking about gatekeeping, and it's funny because I even brought up the fact that us as hip hoppers, we were some of the most guilty gatekeepers in the game.
Yeah,
you know. And it's funny, music people do it all the time. Like sports folks is doing it all the time. And then, you know, at the same token, I hear conversations about, you know, what about these kids that are trying to get into sports and they're all about their athletes, but, you know, they identify, you know, a gender that they identify with. And we try to talk about they can't play this sport. I'm like, man, sports is not supposed to be about that. Sports is supposed to be about camaraderie and learning how to work together as a team and stuff. Like, I think any of us that played, you know, I call it commercial sports because it's really what it is. Any of us that play organized commercial sports became better employees almost always because of it.
Right.
And so why would you take that from some kid, you know, because you're afraid? Well, here's how you don't be afraid. Because I'm going to tell you right now, like Sue Bird would kick my ass in one-on-one. It ain't got nothing to do with, you know, male, female. Like me and Diana Taurasi, yo, I can't stop that crossover. So it's not about me being a boy and her being a girl. Yeah. I dang sure wouldn't go up against Cheryl Miller. She might dunk beat on you. Down. You can't come back out in the street no more. Y'all seen Doc? Nah, man, he retired. What you mean he retired? Nah, he can't come outside. What happened? Yo, Cheryl hit him with a couple of them fades. Cheryl was better than Reggie. Nobody want to talk about that. And we worrying about like, somebody's going to. Cheryl was good. Somebody's going to. No one's going to fake anything to bother your kids. Like, come on. Like, it's not even worth all of that. So I think now that I'm of an age where I can see it more, I am super open to stopping this. And long before everybody started talking about gatekeeping, one of the things that used to just drive me batty was people would get mad at everybody about mumble rap. And I would listen to all my OG friends getting off on people about mumble rap. I was like, y'all hear yourselves, right? And they're like, what? I go, you remember when we used to just want to do go-go? And that was like, oh, that's not, this, that, right? Or when we used to do dance hall, oh, that's not reggae enough. Oh, yeah, speaking of dance hall, by the way, what did this sound like? Boom, boom, I'm in my amigo. Run me that. Boom, 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 I'm in my amigo. Bing, that was mumble rap, fool. Shut up. like nobody in the club understood what we were saying, but they would rock it. Why? Because it was dope.
Yeah,
right?
It felt good.
When Twister first came out, ain't nobody understand Twister, but they was getting it. Nobody could sing 3 verses out of a Twisted track.
Right.
But everybody was rocking.
Das effects.
Right? Foo Schnickens, right?
Yeah. Right, yeah,
when the Haitian kids came through, ain't nobody understood the Haitian kids.
What's so funny? And it's funny you say these Haitian kids, because anytime I think about some of them dope rappers like that, they was always from the islands. They always had them roots. They had, you think about Busta Rhymes, with the Jamaican roots. You talk about, I didn't even know until I was looking up Herbie Lovebug, because I was like, what happened to Herbie Lovebug? I'm like, that dude had a run. That kid who played Salt and Pepper run, that was a run in the late 80s. I didn't know Herbie was Haitian. And now that makes sense that he had. Man.
Come on,
but I want to talk before we get off, man. The tech side of what's happening right now, right? You guys kind of came through as we talked about the crates and digging into crates and the work that it entailed. And now, you can walk around with a thumb drive or whatever and have all the music that you need. But the accessibility has made the industry and the game so much more profitable. Keith, from your perspective, the game as a producer has changed. Mm-hmm. How have you and guys of that generation kind of evolved with this thing and still been able to make a living with the game changing the way it had?
So for me, I'm not in it like I was, but if I were to be in it, the way you win is to apply the thing that travels throughout generations. So without being the preacher here, to all generations, right? We have an old hymn that says, "A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify," right? And then there's a part in there that says, "To this present age, my calling to fulfill," right? So what's in you? What's your talent? What's your gift? And that no matter how old you get, as long as there's breath in your body, there's a way to do what you need to do, because it's really about communication. Think about the part we say faith cometh by hearing, right? So there's hearing, there's a message. The message, like Doc just explained, even mumble rap, there's still a message in there. When they mumble something, you break the words down, people will still say, "Oh, did you hear what so-and-so said in the song?" Because they're throwing a message in there, whether it comes choppy, whether it comes singy, whether it comes on key, off key, there's a way to deliver it. So now, to get to your point with technology, let me say this. The part that they asked, but they didn't throw on the interview on TV One, you would have to do a whole touch of jazz on this. We were the first ones, right, to take an entire album, walk into the studio at the time when everybody was still using tape. They were still on 2 inches. I had a 1040, a 1080. It was a Roland JV 1080. And I had all the vocals on there, and it was kind of like a disgrace to come out of RCA into a SSL board, into a TT Patch Bay. I got TT Patch Bay chords coming out of 8 RCA, and I was bouncing 24 tracks into a Pro Tools session, right? And that right there, for the neo soul music, all of my neo soul records, quote unquote soul, neo soul, whatever you want to call them, came off of digital platform. So that's when Puffy came down, he's like, "Y'all cutting on that? That's what y'all using?" It's like, yeah. And our engineer, look up his name, Serban Genya. Serban Genya, he was with the Neptunes before they came out as the Neptunes, right? Another guy he wrote with us with Your Girl's Going, but name drop Hootie and the Blowfish. So Hootie, we did a song with him on Shallow Hal soundtrack, right? And the scene where they hold the big drawers up in the thing, right? That song, This Is My World, right? That part right there, we did all of this stuff digital. Serban Genya was mixing out of Pro Tools before people even knew it. And they were like, "How do you trust that? How can you mix in that?" He said, "Give me 2 channels," and he put it through there. Now you got Manny Marroquin, you got Tony Maserati, all these different people that were like 2-inch guys. Everybody's digital now. right?
Mhm.
And that actually upped their game because now you don't have to take the tape, recall the faders, get somebody to tweak this, do it. You push a damn button and the whole song comes right up. The artist says we don't like it, you make a call and you print it, you throw it. Now everything is so quick. The sad reality is you can't really get back authentically to where it was.
Right.
And now it's more so about how do you make money, and only the people that can do it do what they feel. So here's a sidebar off of technology. Let me just throw this in here. So when you get a Drake and Beyonce album now, what I got from it is more so we just wanted to throw out there what we feel. Right?
And they can do that. They're in a position they can do whatever they want.
You know, like let's just let me vibe on this joint right here and do what I feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because technology has gotten so far. And yes, time is money and money is time, but you don't have to take the same amount of time that you had to put back in the day. This stuff, flying vocals is like done. Like the minute you come out the booth, I flew the vocals already. Back in the day, go
saying
get a
flying
sandwich.
the vocals, actually having to pick the vocals, put it on the plane, take it physically to somewhere else.
No. Fly means fly. So when you sing the background, let's chill and let's settle down. Then when you repeat that, we got to take that, offset the machine, and then drop that at the end of 16 bars.
See, I'm in the deep waters now. I'm in the deep waters.
That process took a whole 2 and 3 hours at sometimes.
Yeah.
Now,
yes, it did. Because nailing it right where you're getting it like right on the right between that small space between the 8 and the 1, it was hard to do. But you literally had to, and then to take it back, you had to sing it every time. So each chorus was different. And now what we did was we was able to pick them up in the computer. Well, in the tape days, we would just copy to another piece of tape, and then you would literally put the it's called an Odophon, right? It's a one-inch tape. Put it in a thing, take a razor blade, put the piece in there, put a little piece of Kapton tape, another piece of and it's in there. So yeah, we keep it saying like the punch in the old school way, that was hard. Now you literally pick it up, copy, paste. It's stupid.
Yeah,
right.
And the problem that you found on Versus that exposed it, somebody put a meme up and they said Versus is the place that you can literally destroy yourself, because the way they're doing it now is open mic and you can't chase that auto tune real time that easy. So people that really can't sing, that need the help of the studio, it's all out there now. You see,
the captain from Captain and Tennille could not keep auto tune together with them two fools. He was one of the sickest keyboarders ever. He could play 5 keyboards at one time with his feet and whatnot. He could not keep up with them, trying to keep them on tune.
Yeah. It is really about live music right now and being able to perform and huge fan of Music Soul Child, but I'll be honest, I think Versus exposed him a little bit.
No, it didn't. It didn't expose him. He was already exposed.
It's so funny. I saw Music about, I guess this may have been right before the pandemic or right after the pandemic. I saw him at a casino of some sort in Mobile, Alabama, I think. He was trying to start. But here's the thing. I don't expect much from him. I don't expect much from his vocals. Like, he was a part of a vibe. There was a vibe around.
Here's what he did wrong. And this is what a lot of these cats did wrong, because they got gassed up by egos. Yeah. The dude is a banging songwriter. His songwriter had produced a lot of kids that are turning 22 right now. The heat ain't fault. You know what I'm saying? he has some stuff, right? Let's just not get it twisted. He has some stuff. Yeah. And I know that I did a whole bunch of virtual baby making to them joints. Fellas. We live in a world now where you can say, I can write this song and I know this song is going to bang, but I can go on YouTube and just scroll for 5 minutes and get a couple people that could just sing. And then, you know what? Let me get them to sing what I wrote. Songwriters make the most anyway. Like, why do guys always want to be the one on stage?
Yeah, that's
the one
ego.
On stage be the one with the ruined career. The people that wrote everything, they safe. They're good. Nobody's bothering Keith because Keith was making the music. Let them sing. Let the people be knocking on their door. People mad at Will right now. Keith did a Will Smith track. Ain't nobody mad at Keith. They mad at Will.
Ain't nobody mad.
So
Keith
if you
out there,
learn
Keith said you
from,
getting your
like,
royalty checks, right?
Yeah, don't yeah,
Hell yeah.
because you know what, dude? Like some of us been surviving off records we did like way yesterday. Kipper Jones, I think he's down there in Atlanta. There's a few other people, man. Mary, like Warren Campbell. Warren ain't gotta do no records. I mean,
No.
I met him at Dr. Dre's studio. Like he's done so much work. He worked with freaking Tupac. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so when you got all of that in the writing, you kind of okay. The issue now is with digital. You asked about technology. The problem with technology, the love and hate for Steve Jobs was once that iPhone came out and that music started getting digitized like that, I was like, oh crap, we are screwed. And the industry figured that out because they forgot how to monetize it. Those lines at Tower Record lines was, I'm buying this record.
Right.
I'm gonna give you a little hint. If Doc Rock, let's just say Doc had a track and Miguel, you had a track, and I'm like, you know what, Jill need 2 extra tracks. We throw it on the album. When that album sells platinum, you get money. Right. When digital started taking over, I can pick and choose off of the album. Right. So if I don't like your song, you ain't getting no money. Because it's not selling as this whole thing.
Exactly.
And there were people that made tons of money that had 8 songs, and none of their 8 songs saw the light of day on radio.
Right.
But that one song that Rodney Jerkins did took the single and carried the album. And so you benefit off the album. My songs on Will Smith album, they weren't singles. I mean, the Eve song got played at basketball games. Can you feel me, babe? But I flipped Michael Jackson. So, you know, the publishing on that. It's like, they like, go somewhere. You ain't get nothing off of that.
Yeah.
So, but the production check, that rolled because the album sold. Now, when everything went digital, it started changing up. And then they like, well, how the hell do we do this? And that's when a Rodney Jerkins is like, yeah, so I'm a hit producer. And it's somewhere on YouTube. He's like, I made $12,000 off that album. Mary was like, whoa, that's all? And before, this dude's making 80,000 and more in one quarter.
Yeah.
So digital kind of just like, digital just took us out.
But are we seeing a resurgence now? Because my understanding is that there's a resurgence of some of the old music getting more spins, more plays. Are you seeing any increase in royalty checks?
It's because the old stuff is coming back because the new kids are jacking it. And it's funny because I do this, you know, there's a girl on TikTok, CSA, whatever. She makes fun of this. But I do this with Emma all the time. Emma's like, oh, this the check, you know, the big energy. And I'm like, nah, that come from an old song. She goes, yeah, my mama already told me it's Mariah Carey. I was like, no, your mama's stupid. Here, watch this. What you gonna do when you get out of jail? She's like, what that? I'm like, that's the original.
Right.
You remember, me and your moms are close in age, but I'm a music person. Your mom listened to music she didn't even remember, you know. But then when I played it, even my sister-in-law was, oh yeah, I remember that. I was like, that's the original, right? So that girl on TikTok, she has a funny joint. She goes, millennials be like this, and then Gen X be like this, and then the boomers be like, sit down, both of y'all. Here we go. I've been really trying, baby.
Right.
Trying to hold back that feeling. You know, so it's funny, but that's the part to me that's dope, is we are opening up. And just like we dug into jazz because of our hip-hop producers, right? Because when DJ Premier and them was pulling joints out of the cut, you know, when Maceo then was pulling joints out the cut, we went back and dug into James
Muhammad,
Brown.
All them
kids. You know what I'm saying? So now they are doing now what we did to like our uncles then back then, right? So they are pulling this new stuff out, and then people got to dig back to find out, you know, what it be like. So
we the uncles now. Before I let you go, Keith, was you involved at all with that Soul Aquariums move? Everything that went on with that Soul Aquarium stage where man, that was an amazing stage of music, man. And here's the funny thing. I didn't even, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, there was a and I saw this was introduced to me. Well, let me just say not introduced to me. I knew all those albums. I was playing all those albums. Voodoo, Like Water with Chocolate, you know, all the stuff that was done. And this is probably 98 to 2004 or 5, somewhere around up in there, right? And there was about a 6 or 7 minutes on YouTube somewhere where they did a cartoon storytelling piece about Soul Aquariums. and they talked about, you know, Common sleeping on the couch and Q-Tip and everybody in there. And I said, and Erykah Badu, that's why those albums were so dope, because they were all doing stuff in that studio at the same time. Just give us a little bit of stuff of that, how that works out, where a vibe, where you guys are almost like Steph Curry behind the line, like you can't miss. And I'm sure you with Touch of Jazz, y'all had that type of run.
You know what happens, like I would love to, so we all went through something. There's not much I'm going to like publicly say, because I know this stuff is out there, but what Jazzy Jeff built and what he still can build now, but it won't ever be what it was, because we're in a different day and time. Like, you know, like after the pandemic, churches aren't not going to be the same. Call it what it is. Right. Basketball ain't the same, really. Right. I mean, shout out to Steph Curry, LeBron James, and all this, that, and third, but you're not getting the Bulls again. People try to recreate that. It's a whole different era, different age, because if you concentrate on the Bulls, then you got to put Larry Bird in the mix. You got to put Dr. J. You need Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You got to add all these other people in the mix that made that day what it was. It's gone. It's gone. And that don't mean life is over, because as we say in this realm, we're creatives, right? Yeah. So creatives is, what do you make out of what you got now? It's not that plastic is something new. It's what you take with plastic and metal and put a heat gun on it and do something and put it in some acid, and then you have to name it. You got to put a name on it. But you're not making it out of nothing that's technically new. You just doing what got to do for now. There's some things you're just not going to go back to.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
not a whole cloth.
Doc got cameras right now probably behind him that are like retro dope. But the reality of okay, but you got some retro something in there that you can pull out, and even if it worked, is Miguel going to go get it? Is Keith going to get it? Are you going to sell that to the whole eCam community? Absolutely not. At the time then, was it dope? And whatever Doc shows us that's dope with that camera, somebody's going to recreate that look in a plugin or something to accomplish that.
Right.
And that's how it's going to do now. So the time we're living in, it's like sooner or later we're going to have electric cars, and a gas car is going to be a dope throwback. Some people don't want to face that. They're like, oh, no. It's like, yeah, it's not that gas cars are going to go away, but after a while, everybody that's been complaining and crying about an electric car, after a while, they're going to be like, you know what? I like this thing here. Yeah. And they're going to get it.
I love to do that to people, Keith. You know, when they be like, oh, I don't like the way these new kids, they just be in their computer and they can just throw a track together, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I was like, cool, give me your phone. And they were like, what? I'm going to go get you that old AT&T Bakelite push button that used to have to pay $7 a month for to rent that joint, where you got to slide the thing on the side to turn the ringer off. They were like, what? I don't want that. Well, then don't hate on them for what they got to make music now. Right. Like, you ain't about to walk to the grocery store, is you? No. Nope. Right?
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
You don't want to go back to have to hide from the sheriff. Well, we kind of back to that.
Right.
But I mean, like, just come on, fam. Like, stop with stuff like that, and you're not ready to come off for some other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, and that was my argument earlier when you was talking with Kia about, you know, sort of what was going on with the other stuff. I'm like, it's funny how we're like mad constitutionalists about the stuff that works in our favor. But you completely forget in freedom of religion. What's that got to do with anything? Well, you told the people the reason why they had to, you know, get rid of Roe v. Wade is because it's an abomination against God. But we also have freedom of religion. So some of us don't believe that. So what are you saying? You want to pick the ones that work for you? And not all of them?
Yeah, that's how,
you know what I'm saying?
That's how that
on
seems
the
to work.
Miguel and Asia next episode, we're going to tune in.
Yo, for real.
They had that conversation at the top of the hour, and it was good because I think people be forgetting that. Like, what you're hearing in all of these random arguments and just about everything is people keep trying to want stuff to go back where it is. But if I told them to let me de-technology your house, I bet you ain't about that life.
No, not at
Let
all.
me get your microwave. Oh, yeah, your refrigerator, go. You got to get a block of ice from
Mic
the
drop.
River.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, I could talk to you guys all night, man, but I'm gonna let y'all go. But y'all drop your socials, because so for y'all you don't know, these cats are way doper than me. They are
no,
the real,
you the man.
They're the real deal. I appreciate y'all fake humility, but y'all know on this live stream thing, y'all are the man 1 and 2, along with all the great the great community. So y'all make sure go ahead drop something. If it's Let's Get Live here, what are we promoting here before we get up out of here?
Honestly, I'm at Doc Rock all over the socials. Probably my biggest things in my YouTube channel and then my Discord community. That's it. It's docrock.live/Discord or docrock.live/YouTube.
I'm
KeithPelzer.com.
And that's PELZER. Just Google it, man. And for y'all are wondering, like, you ain't really had nobody dope on the show. Google Keith Pelzer and then holler at your boy. And then do y'all know what kind of people we running with, right? See, y'all are my name drop. See, Keith Pelzer.
No, you my name drop.
That's my man's right there. That's my man.
You on them Atlanta streets. I got a lot of folk down there. I'm gonna talk to you about it.
Man,
I got a lot of folk down there.
Come through.
Man, I've been wanting to come down because I'm going to Dallas in August, and I got to go from Dallas to Virginia to go be with my sister there for like a week before I head back on the road.
Yo, you got to fill me in on this Virginia connection. You said your sister lives in Hampton. And Michael, well, how long has she been there?
She been there for about 20 years.
Man, we know all the same. It's so crazy. We made online.
Dude, my brother-in-law is from Danville, but like we grew up in Southeast. So here's crazy. I know for a fact that my sisters clique and Tina them clique used to yell stuff at each other from across the go-go. I tell them right now. I was like, yo, Tiana or my baby sister Mimi them, I'm like, they be over there like, oh, that's them trifling girls from Northeast.
Yo, Doc.
They probably wanted to pull each other's hair back in the day.
My DC neighborhood is me and Big G from Backyard grew up in the same neighborhood. Like
wait, Genghis? You talking about Genghis?
Yeah,
that's Tina's boy. Genghis is her boy.
Yeah,
I know Genghis and I 14, Genghis, whatever. Yeah,
14 Columbia Road, Northwest, Uptown. Before I moved to Hampton, so I spent all my.
I'm from Butternut and Madison, so basically Tacoma, right by the line, right by the Silver Spring line.
Right. So you uptown too, and then I moved down to Hampton. And here I am. We deep in it now. Well, I moved down to Hampton, but if your sister been in Michael Woods for 20 years, Hampton, Virginia ain't but 120,000 people in Hampton.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. If you went to any of the, if you went to any of the parties or like the when the Macy's throw their parties and what like that, they there. Yeah. They was there.
Yeah, I'm sure I know your fam. So
y'all everybody, we're supper club.
Yeah. Hey man, I appreciate y'all taking some time out on this Sunday and chopping it up. Y'all make sure you follow these guys. Doc knows everything about live streaming. Ecamm is dope. What you see right now is Ecamm. I'm a big fan of it because it makes life very easy. So no knock on y'all doing StreamYard and OBS and all that, but y'all doing it real hard. Y'all making y'all lives real hard. Go buy yourself a Mac. Go buy yourself a Mac and save yourself some time. Peace and love. Follow us on the YouTubes, the Instagrams, and the Facebooks and all that. Peace.
Peace.